Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Brothers and sisters, in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can implement forecasting technique using WEKA. I hope by now you have installed the applications and you also have followed my instructions on the earlier video tutorial to install the forecast package as part of this application. Alright, so now if everything is in place, let's go to Explorer. Okay, so in this Explorer, when you open, the first landing page would be all the tabs that we have earlier. So by now you should have the pre-process, classify, cluster, associate, and so on. And what we're going to need in this particular video tutorial is forecast. Alright, if you have this, then we are good to go. Alright, so what we're going to do next, we're going to pick the file that I have shared in the learning management system. Okay, and then click on open file and locate where the file is. Alright, so this is where I put my file, and as you can see in here I have two files. The first one is the total computer sales that we're going to use in these demo sessions, and then I also have the forecast and roll, which you're going to implement this later on as part of your exercise. Alright, and then make sure both of the files are in ARFF format. Alright, so you don't have to work with the formatting again later on. Okay, so we're going to work for this exercise, we're going to work with the total computer sales. Click on the file, click open. Alright, so you should have two variables here. Okay, so we have the month and we also have the total units sold. Okay, if you have a look on the right hand side, unfortunately in this particular dataset, WEKA doesn't know that month is actually referring to the sequence of the month. So we actually started from January to September, but in this particular scenario it will not affect the output, so you don't have to worry. We still can work with the datasets. And we also have the total units sold, which in this case we have the minimum, maximum, and also we can have generated the standard deviations and the average here. Okay, so you can actually have a look on descriptive statistics on the right hand side. Okay, it's very important for you to read before you reach the conclusion later. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go to forecast. Since our data is ready to go, now we can click on forecast. In forecast, we do have the two variables that we have loaded here. So now we're going to decide. We have to decide which one that we're going to pick as the target. So you have to tick on the target selector. Okay, so if you have a look here, there is a target selector. Okay, and we have to decide which of this variable will be your target. So obviously it will be the total units sold. So we need to click on that one. Okay, and we also need to specify how many units that we want to forecast. So say I'm going to forecast up to the end of the year. So in this case, I'm expecting around 4 units to forecast. All right, and I'm expecting month to be my timestamp, and this is actually monthly periodicity. All right, and we're going to use the confidence interval. We did the same thing in the Excel exercise, so we're going to do the exact same thing here. We're going to make sure that the level confidence is 95%, and then once everything is good to go, okay, so we're going to click start now. All right, so as you can see in here, these are the value generated from the default forecasting technique. Okay, so which in this case is actually the default is linear regressions. Okay, you can have a look here. The default is linear regression. Okay, but unfortunately when it comes to the result, it's a little bit odd to have that all the month generated for the predictions is somewhat very uniform. Okay, so everything is generated as 2110. Okay, so something needs to be done here. I'm a little bit unsatisfied with the results, so we're going to change a little bit on the algorithm that we use. So instead of linear regressions, I'm going to choose something else. Okay, so what you need to do, we were in the basic configurations. Click on advanced configurations here and go to choose Okay, so now we're going to choose the algorithm here. So I am going to use the small reg. Okay, so small reg basically, as you can see in here, the small reg implements the SVM. Okay, and then we're going to see whether we're going to have a better results using small reg. All right, let's click on start. Okay, so now we have the results generated here. Okay, so I think I'm going to change first. Before I get to that, let me just make it 3 so we get until the end of the year. All right, let's click start. So okay, so now I get all the months generated up until December. Okay, so now we have this as the result. Okay, in a way it is a lot more reasonable, okay, because we can see some fluctuates, but it's not uniform from month to month. Okay, although the trend is the same, basically it's going down, but at least we have a much more reasonable numbers to anticipate. And you can also look at the trend future predictions. This is actually the visualizations. Okay, this is where the predictions is. Okay, so as you can see in here, the trend is quite similar to what you get in Excel, that we also have a downwards trend. Okay, just want to have a look, okay, just in case you're wondering whether this is similar to what you have in Excel that you have generated. So let me show you what we have in Excel. As you can see in here, this is the predictions from the forecast that we did earlier. Now this is what is generated. As you can see, the numbers is kind of similar. Okay, so we have quite kind of consistent predictions. Okay, so in here we have in the forecasting technique in Excel, you get 1700, which is kind of more or less to what you get here, 1723. 1624, 1694. Okay, so I think this is a lot more reasonable predictions as compared to the linear regressions that we have earlier. Okay, and there are many more technique here if you want to have a look, just in case you want to explore a little bit on what we're going to get from other technique. Feel free to just play around with this and have a look on the capabilities of each techniques. Okay, and perhaps by having a look at more techniques, you would be able to see the difference, and you would be able to make much better comparison and better findings on what needs to be done by the business. All right, I think that will be all in this video tutorial. I hope it is clear. Feel free to play around some more with WEKA, and I really hope that by now you should be able to run your own experiments using the other data sets, okay, on the predicting the enrollment, and by end of the exercise you would be able to read and interpret the findings. That will be all. Take care, stay safe, stay healthy. Assalamualaikum.